Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Divinely Crowned Conversations podcast. I am your girl, Divina, and I am so grateful that you decided to tune into this week's conversation. Before we get into this conversation, I always got to come with my announcements. So make sure you are subscribed to Divinely Crown on Spotify and Apple Music. Also, that you are following Divinely Crown on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And even though DivinelyCROWN'D.com is down right now, make sure you are, subscribed to get the notification when we finally launch. I said, guys, I'm going to wait till 2024 to get it fully up and running. So be prepared for that to come, as well as so many other exciting things that are getting ready to happen with Divinely Crowned. Also, this weekend, guys, December 9th, this Saturday, is finally the Royal Affair presented by Divinely Crowned and Rabbit 3. Listen, we are so excited and just ready for this event. We have been working so hard just to really bring you guys an experience of just positivity, good vibes, just good food, good drinks, just all the good things as we are wrapping up this year. I cannot believe that 2023 is almost over and we are getting ready to enter into 2024. So we just want to end this year on a positive note, just really enjoying people in our community, making new connections, and just having a great time. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, make sure you do so ASAP. Tickets go off sale this Friday, December 8th. So don't be one to say, I wish I would have got a ticket. Don't be up in me and Andre's DMs like, can I still get a ticket when tickets go off sale? Because you guys know y'all be doing that sometimes. And I love you. But we try to do things like they say in decency and in order. So just make sure if you want to come, you get your ticket to the event and just come and have a great time at 1020 Collective. So I also definitely, we got to give a shout out to some of our major sponsors. One of them being where I am now, recording this podcast at Radius Co-working Space. Radius is a co-working space for entrepreneurs, for business owners, for remote workers, freelancers in the heart of downtown Erie. They provide a space for people to share the tools, knowledge, and encouragement that we each need to achieve our personal and professional goals. Radius is a passionate advocate for a better Erie and eagerly welcomes new members who are building businesses, lifting up their peers, and are excited to make this city a better place. And like I've said before, they definitely do that, and they stand behind what they're about, and it's just a great place to be. Like I love being here. I love being able to record my podcast here and just make the connections I've made over the years. So I'm excited to be here. Also, another very big, proud sponsor is Easter Group Daycare. Easter Group Daycare is a safe, nurturing, enriching environment for your child's early years. Easter Group Daycare is dedicated to providing quality care. For parents, they offer a supervised and experienced team of caregivers who are committed to your child's growth and well-being. Like I've said before, my children have been there before, so they love this. So I definitely stand behind Easter Group Daycare, and I know they're a great facility. I know that they are hiring for daycare providers as well as accepting children for third shift. So if you're a third shift worker looking for a great place for your children to go while you are working and feel safe, this is where you need to be. Also, another proud sponsor is another One of my near and dear daycares is Handle with Care Daycare. They are located on State Street. They are a 5-star Keystone Stars 5-star rating daycare. And they are also accepting new children as well. So shout out to both of them. And it's so funny. I was like, it's so interesting that two sponsors that I have are daycares. And I'm like, you know what? That just shows that parents need a night out sometimes and to be able to enjoy themselves. And these daycares stand behind that and support that, because, we all need it. And even these daycare providers, they're like, we want to have a good time, good, positive time, as well as we're pouring into these children. So shout out to those sponsors. Also, I want to let you guys know that next week, December 12th, Divinely Crowned turns 5 years old. Like, what? 5, like a 5-year anniversary. So I'm going to do a special, celebration on my podcast. I'm going to do a special podcast for that. So make sure you tap in next week with me to celebrate. I did this last year at my 4 years. So this year is going to be the same. So I'm excited to kind of recap these last 5 years of growth in this journey. And honestly, I can't even I get emotional just thinking about it as I'm talking. So, but let me stop ranting and raving. And so we can get into this week's episode. I'm going to bring we are doing this virtual. Actually, my guest tonight is virtual. So I'm going to bring her onto the screen so we can get started. And also make sure you comment. We like to be in the comments. We like to have you guys talk. So make sure you talk to us. I already have Tamira. She said, hey, Queen. Hello, dear. So let me bring my guest out here. Hello. Oh, I can't hear you. You're on mute. Oh, let me see. Is that
okay? That was me.
Okay. It's all good. Hello, my dear. How are you?
I am thankful to be here.
Yes. So why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
So for those who don't know me already, I am Toya, and I wear several hats, but the hat of this season is execution for the kingdom. So
execution for the kingdom. I love that. I love that very much.
Yeah. Even a lot of my hobbies and stuff are at bay right now because it's nothing else first, right? Not in this season.
Oh, we definitely gonna get into that tonight. We have Andre. He said he gave the hair class. Hello, Jay. Shout out to Dre. I know he's been working hard as we're preparing for this event. So I hope you get some rest tonight.
Okay.
But yes, so I always like to share how I know my guests, and Toya has a special place in my heart. I've known her now for, I feel like, as long as I've had Divinely Crowned.
Mm-hmm.
And you were somebody I just reached out to. I would see you on social media. And I'm like, I just want to reach out. And you gave me some advice about with me starting my business. And just ever since then, we have connected. The crazy thing, guys, we've been friends for sisters for over 5 years and have never met each other in person.
Ever.
I think about that we're literally pen pals. It's crazy.
Right.
But you know what? And we can get into that tonight, but it just speaks to the relationship. For us to have been connected this long, we've swapped phone numbers. We're sisters. We definitely call each other sis. Have rooted for each other, have supported each other, and I cherish her very much. So she actually was one of my first guests before I even did the podcast. She was on when I was doing live, just testing this thing out. So I definitely appreciate her being on the official podcast tonight. I can't wait. I already know this is about to be.
I'm honored.
So let's get into this conversation. So Toya, Divinely Crowned is all about having real, honest, open, transparent conversations about the everyday journey of building our queendoms, which is our life, where we're at, where we come from, where we're at, and where we're going. So I always like to start at the beginning of tell me about young Toya
Oh,
and
geez.
how she was as a young queen.
Look, I would like to say that, like, I would like for everyone to believe, like, I was just this good kid. And I was just like this peaceful, quiet. No, like, I was a piece of work as a child. Like, I was loud.
Hmm.
Go figure that. I
Which
was
is crazy because I mean, 'cause we've only ever talked, but you're so like quiet, soft spoken.
yeah. Look, that happened over time because if you
It's
see
been
like the
delivered.
old VHS's, baby, you would be like, who? Okay.
I love it.
Yeah. Hyper. I danced a lot. Super Bowl. Like I always challenged authority.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that was kind of like the bulk of who I was
Mhm.
as a
Mhm.
kid.
Challenge authority.
Yeah.
So you want to elaborate on that a little bit? Because I always get intrigued when like people say stuff like that or have been through like have done that.
Okay. So dang, where did I first become like delinquent?
A young savage. Like, no, let me stop.
No, like one major like part of my life that I can like speak about was like when I was in foster care.
Mm-hmm.
So of course like when you're placed in foster care, you're assigned like a social worker or like a
Okay.
caseworker. So like around the time I was like 16 or yeah, about 16, I was pregnant with my first son.
Mm-hmm.
And well, actually, I don't want to tell that part, but okay, so I was living with one of my aunts at the time, and like I I walked a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
I was 6 months at the time, and I saw my doctor, and they said I was going into labor, like I was starting to go into labor, and I needed to be on bed rest, and I didn't listen. So
Mm-hmm.
she ended up calling my caseworker.
Mm.
And basically, like, she won't listen. She won't sit still. So my caseworker ended up putting me in Florence Crenton. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's
I've
like,
heard of it. I
mm-hmm.
think that's
It's
around Erie.
yeah, it's on like 6th and Ash, I believe. It's just like this big house, and it have like a
Okay.
schoolhouse in the back. But it's set up for like pregnant teens, like from
Okay.
Erie and then the surrounding areas. So I ended up having to go there, and the rules were like everybody like in the house had to go like to the schoolhouse in the back. And when
Mm-hmm.
I say there was like pregnant teens in there from ages 12 all the way up until like 17 at the time,
Mm.
like to me it just, I'm going into my senior year, like I'm just thinking about like my life, and I'm about to be a parent, just different aspects. And I'm like, I called my caseworker one day, and I was like, listen, I would turn up in this place if like y'all don't figure out how y'all can get me like to school every day. Like this is my senior year. Like
Yeah.
make it do what it do for real. And you know what I'm saying? Like just her knowing me, it was like, yeah, I gotta do something because this girl
She gonna
she
she
got
gonna
take my
turn up
job
in here.
hard. So I ended up being the only girl like in there at the time, walking to East every day,
Wow.
walking my baby to daycare, and walking to school. Like, yeah, none of that.
First of all, I mean, and you said you were 16 at the time,
hmm
and first of all,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a powerful thing to be able to be like, listen,
hmm
you ain't gonna mess up, even though I'm in here kind of acting wild, but you're not
Yeah.
gonna mess up my future, like
hmm
in here, and them being like, okay, we're gonna make an exception for you, like that. I feel like that speaks volumes to who you are in
Yeah.
general. So
Yeah.
hold on real quick. I have your husband in here talking about some you still loud. Detroit Day said you are still loud.
Why would you be in
We
here
have
telling my
Sam
business?
said Privé. Lord Jesus. Listen. But and shout out to hubby. Hello, brother. I know you watching.
Child, he right over here.
Yeah. So okay, so you said you were in foster care from what age to what age?
Um, the first time I could remember going, I was 4,
Okay.
or was I 4? Yeah, I was about 4, and then my sister above me was like 6. So it was just like
Okay.
us left in the house,
Okay.
the scenario or whatever.
So, how do you feel like, that part of your journey kind of shaped you into you're a mother, you have children, and I do actually, let me rewind. I meant to say this. You are originally from Erie,
hmm
right? And now you live in Atlanta.
Well, I'm currently living in Michigan, but
Okay. Which you, and I was gonna, and then as I was saying Atlanta, I remember you were in Michigan as well.
hmm
So okay. So yeah, so you are originally from Erie,
hmm
and so that's where you grew up your whole life in Erie, pretty
I
much.
didn't leave Erie until 2011.
Okay, okay. So yeah,
hmm
born and raised here. And
Yeah.
it's crazy that we didn't cross paths when you were here,
Listen,
which is wild. But God knew what he was doing. He's like, we listen, I feel like when we finally meet in person, it's gonna be
it's gonna
like
be crazy. They probably gonna
it
be
really
to
is.
pry us apart.
But so okay, so that yeah, like I said, hold on. First of all, let me get bro. He said she better tell seed planter them lies. What up, though, sis?
Get off here.
Oh my gosh. So yeah,
Listen.
so how did that kind of shape you? Because you said since so you first went in at 4 and then kind of were in and out. So like how did that how did that journey kind of shape you into who you are today?
To be honest, it sharpened
Mm,
my faith
mm,
because it helped me to understand that all things are temporary.
mhm, mm,
So, like even when I became an adult, when I like was ready to leave Erie, I didn't have like this set plan or this set goal. Like I had no
mhm,
clue where I was going or like where I was going until the opportunity presented itself, and I took the
mhm.
opportunity. And even when I took the opportunity, like it wasn't the best opportunity in the world. I just did what I could with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you having a child at 16 even and being still pretty much a child, raising a child, like how did that even shape you? And then and you yeah, because then I want to actually if you could elaborate on the part you said about um, you know, you didn't know where you were going.
hmm
Like, but so the first part I want to ask that part about just raising a child young and you were saying how like you had to tell these grown adults, like, "You're gonna make sure I
Yeah.
finish school. I'm
Yeah.
going to be out of this facility. I'm walking my child to
hmm
to daycare," all the things, like, tell me about that journey.
Um, to be honest, like it was just super empowering because
Mm,
already I was the individual who was just like, I don't know if it was so much so like I honestly will say it just always felt like God was there with me. So
mhm,
it's like
mhm.
even just when I didn't know what this or that would be like parenthood, it's like at 16, even us thinking now, if we see a 16-year-old, it'd be like, oh my God, that's a baby. Like,
Mhm.
so and like I even explained to my oldest son, and it's just like it's something that God placed inside of you, and I feel like it's him showing up in the midst of what could seem to be to others like the worst thing possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, that that's true, and it is part of I feel like your journey of like obviously your son was meant to be here
mhm.
at 16 and it probably helps you to grow up. Maybe I know you were saying like pretty much you're like I like to detest authority and stuff,
Yeah.
and I don't know, do you feel like once you had him, you kinda stop testing authority,
Absolutely
or is
not.
that
It turned up. Because it's like now it's not just me that I
mm,
have to like protect, and it's just like this baby is like it's pure. Like it don't you understand? Like
yeah.
so that's the mindset that I really had with it.
Hmm. So you wanted to pretty much like mommies want to protect their babies,
Yeah.
and you're like, listen, I'm going to do by all any means necessary, like,
Mhm.
and if that means having to go against authority, and I think that just speaks to a mother's love, like,
Mhm.
and when a mother genuinely, because I feel like I'm realizing more as I get older that not all moms have that nurturing and that I'll go to war for you, for my child, and
That's
I
true.
think it's a blessing when, not saying that, like, majority of moms don't, but it's like, wow, there are mothers that don't do this for their children, aren't
Yeah.
like this for their children, and being able to give that to your child and be like, "Listen, I will do anything to protect you, to provide for you," like, I think that speaks volumes for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Your husband said, "Preach, queen." Listen, we gonna get into husband because he is definitely I see from just social media how he just supports you. So we gonna get into black love. But I want to talk about how oh shoot, what was the other part I said? You talked about, dang, now I forget.
Um
Listen, we'll come back to it. It's okay. But I do have another question as we were talking, because you've said since we got on this live so far about just your faith and your relationship with God. So tell me about it, because I'm all about, I love me some God, okay?
okay.
And I did also see I did also share in the comments that you are even, it's called a soul therapist.
Yes.
So just tell me about, like, your faith, and as well as that, because I'm assuming that kind of goes hand in hand, right?
Mhm.
So share with me what that is, and also just about your faith journey.
Okay, so a soul therapist is really someone who like I assist individuals with like the deeper matters of life. So like
Mm,
therapy would be like you stand with your therapist and she may ask you like, well, how is your job? Or
mhm,
like what parts of your job don't you like? Or something to that nature where I would sit and ask the person like, so like how do you feel on the inside when you go to work?
mhm,
Like what is your state of mind like when you walk into the building?
mm,
Like just like the deeper matters. You feel
mhm,
me?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess, so yeah, because therapists deal with, like, first of all, I know therapists a lot of times deal with even just the traumas and things like that. But like you're saying, you deal with the deep inner feelings almost, right?
So I will say this, and I can say this because it's like a time for it. And
Mhm.
like us as humanity, we are going from five sensory beings to multi-sensory beings.
Okay.
So
You
it's
wanna
like we're used to like experiencing things via touch, taste, smell, hearing, seeing, like those things.
mhm.
So it's like when you're dealing with like soul therapy, it's more multi-sensory. So it's
Okay.
touching on like the third dimensional aspects of human life, which is like your job and just
Mhm.
anything that will fall under like systematical living, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, it's more focused on like the multi-sensory parts
Okay.
of the human experience.
So where did your interest in that come from, or any all of that? Like, where did your interest kind of come from with all of that? Have you always been that way of, like, being interested in this type of work, I would say, or is this something kind of that you kind of grew into?
To be honest, I feel like it's just something that God trusted me with.
Mm-hmm.
Because no, like when I was a kid or even as a teenager or even as a young adult, it's just like if you would have told me I would have been a soul therapist at 33, I would have been like, girl, goodbye. Because what? So it's kind of like it's like the gifts that God have placed in me. Like
Mm-hmm.
like it's so easy for me to look at a human and like literally like scan their whole being like
Mm.
within seconds, and it's just like it's always from a space where I want a deeper understanding. It's never from a place where like most humans just can't help to like look at a specimen or look at an object and attempt to tear it apart or attempt to pick it apart because of it may not understand it, or you know, if that makes sense.
Say for those who may not make sense, can you say it maybe in a different way? Also, I have first of all, Detroit Day said, "Love us some capital God." I know that's right. And I have Alex. She was on last week. She said, "I'm late, but what is a soul therapist? Sounds like the type of thing I'm into." So I guess if you want to break that down a little bit with what you just said a little bit again.
Um, shoot. So
So
okay, so
can you say again what a soul therapist is?
okay, so it's just basically a therapist that focuses more on the multi-sensory aspects of the human
Mhm,
experience versus
mhm,
the five sensory aspects of the human experience.
mhm, mhm. So, and then, like, can you give an example of maybe if someone were to come to you, kind of like what they could expect? I don't know if you're able to do that, but like
Okay.
what would maybe they expect to kind of be doing with you? You might
Like
have
an
some clients on here, sis. You better get
like an
some potential clients.
like overall, it's an energy cleanse.
Okay.
Like because everything starts as energy first. Like
Mhm.
any dis-ease, any ailment, any it's like an energy. Any type of like back pain or you have a knot or something, or if
Mhm.
you have constant headaches, like it's all just energy that can't move much. So
Mhm.
it's causing physical like dis-ease.
Mhm. Mhm. So, and you were talking about how like okay, compared to like a therapist, you're like somebody who wants to kind of go deeper into like what your feelings are, pretty much your emotions when you're in certain areas of your life.
With the intention to actually like grow through and heal that thing versus
Okay.
where maybe a therapist might just give you a prescription or like
Mhm.
it's literally in the attempt to purge whatever energies you don't want to exist within your being out
Okay.
like mhm.
Okay. Let me hold on. It's a reverence of understanding. Okay. That's what Detroit Day said. So, and I guess how long have you been doing this?
Oh god. um like subconsciously probably since I've been a kid, I can't lie, but
I
actually like becoming aware and just like, all right, God, you want me to do this? Like accepting it and then like honing in and mastering, because the mastering isn't like I had to master it. I had to master myself.
know yourself. I get
Hmm.
that. I
Yeah.
can totally relate as like even a confidence life coach. Like it's so funny. I was just having this conversation with my best friend and kind of I was like venting to her and she's like, like, but this is your ministry. This is what you're
Hmm.
called to do. So like even when it might be hard and sometimes draining, and I don't know if you can relate to that, but it's like
Absolutely.
I have no choice but to do this. I
Hmm.
feel being, having a relationship with God and being a daughter of him, like I have to fulfill my calling. Like,
Yeah.
and so, and like you said, like going back to even younger days, like I look back now as a 33-year-old woman who's doing this and go, I've been doing this my whole life for
Yeah.
people. Like I literally was this little girl doing these things and it's just in a different way. But it's like I literally been doing everything I've been doing my whole life. It's
Yeah.
crazy, like to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Let me see. Gifts. Your gifts will make
I'm gonna
room
go
for
take
you.
his phone.
So you have actually written some books, which I meant to pull up your book when before we got on, but you've written a few books.
Mm-hmm.
Two?
Yes, too.
And you just launched another one recently.
I did, but Amazon, and that's
Uh-oh.
Amazon gave me a hard time about uploading that one, and it's because so about in 2019, this is the new
Uh-huh.
book. Like
Was
I
that
had,
like the red with the it was like the different like purples or whatever? The second one I got.
okay, you did get my second one.
Yes, yeah.
That was the love one, but this
Okay, yes.
most recent one, I believe I shared the cover some months back, but
Wait, okay, hold on. The first one it was the love, the second one wait, the first one was love, self-love.
yeah, the first one was self love, the blue one, and then the second one was like a pinkish purple, and that
Yes,
one
I have that's the one I'm
love is
talking
all
about, the
there
pinkish
is.
purple
Okay.
one. What's that one? That's the one that had an issue with uploading to Amazon?
Oh no, that one is
Okay.
title is Love is All There Is. And
Yes,
I
yes,
was
yes, yes. So what made you write these books?
obedience.
Oh,
Listen, Sharon, what when you know, you know. You won't hold
yeah.
on to nothing. Obedience.
Obedience.
Yeah.
So can you tell like for because they're on sale. The first one is not on sale anymore on Amazon.
I'm not sure.
Can they buy them?
Yes.
Okay. What are
And
the titles again? And why don't you tell me about both of them? Like what are the titles and like maybe what people can expect? Because I got them both, and I need you to be sharing with the world more.
okay, so self love to wealth is basically like a
Wait, real quick. He said, "All right, I'll leave the room, y'all heating up, bro. You gotta go, okay? Because now I know why
get
my
him
girl
up
is a
out of
little
here.
nervous.
Get him out of here.
You gotta get out the room.
Thank you.
Go watch from your car."
She said, "Go watch in the shower."
Listen, let her loosen up. She over there all shy, nervous like a young girl.
Golly.
Now I get it.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. So
Too big.
yeah, okay. I love it. So okay, so yes, what tell me about these books because I feel like don't they kind of correlate with what you do with kind of your like soul therapist, and you're also a philanthropist.
Yes. Um, they do correlate. Like anything that I do, like I can't help but to correlate it to
Mm-hmm.
like the soul stuff because it's deeper than just like, oh, I'm this soul therapist. Like it's really like work for the kingdom. It's just like I have
Mm-hmm.
to put that there.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me, for humanism, but it's
Yeah.
like
Uh-oh. We lost her. Hopefully we'll get her back. Look, her husband left the room and he took the energy with him. All right. Did you hear me? I
okay.
say
Am I back?
her husband left the room and he took her energy with him.
Nothing.
I
Okay.
love it. Listen, this is real live, honest, open, and transparent. Okay.
Raw. Okay.
You been raw. But
So
yes, you said so Freddie. So uh-oh. I hope we don't keep go run into this issue. You good? I cannot hear you now. I can't hear you. Mm. Log out and then come back in. Maybe that will work. Listen, I love a good real live interview. We'll give her a few minutes. let me see. Sorry, guys. I'm just sending her back her invite to make sure she gets it. Either way, while we're waiting for Toya to get back on, I hope that everybody is having a great week. Okay, we got her back. Okay, you good?
I had to delete Messenger because for some reason they like binge calling me
Oh.
to play a game. It's fine.
Oh my God. Well, if that ain't a distraction of
Listen,
okay. But
yeah.
okay, so let's while we're because I feel like when things are meant to happen and there's messages that need to be brought, sometimes we go through attacks. So I do want to talk about your faith, and you just been talking even before we got on. You're just like I've been like just focus on God pretty much. So like tell me about just you said you're working for the kingdom and like your husband even said we love us some the capital God. Like tell me about your journey with your faith.
Hmm. It was rough. I would
Mhm.
say that much. For one, the way that I grew up a Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
Like, so I grew up in the Kingdom Hall. But my mom, like, she was Christian, so it's
Mhm.
like, whenever the time came and we were able to live with her, like, I was able to experience that as well. But like the totality of my childhood literally was like me growing up in the Kingdom Hall,
Mhm.
and like I've always loved God,
Mhm.
even when I didn't understand or couldn't comprehend. It was
Mhm.
just like throughout my whole entire journey, even through foster care, it was like I never really felt alone.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just felt like God have always been with me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um some difficult things, like I don't talk about much, but
Mhm.
when I was 6, like I was molested by someone who went to our Kingdom Hall.
Mhm. Mhm.
So like it would be things like that along my journey that would literally, like, if I allow myself or if I convince myself enough that it's just like God is not real.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
was faced with a lot of that, like
Mhm.
a lot of hellish stuff that could possibly take place on this planet. Like I've been faced with it. So it's
Mhm.
like, and then each time, like I have a decision. Like I feel like every soul have a decision. It's
Mhm.
like you can take something from this, like you can use it, alchemize it, and grow, or you can
Mhm.
like carry it with you and allow for it to like just make you sick for real. And
Mhm.
like even just growing up around like just different individuals, different households, different styles of living. One thing I always could pick up on like is like the adults, like if they happy or not.
Mm. Mhm.
So that's something that I always paid attention to as well. So like I said, it's like this soul thing. It's like I've done it since I've been a kid, and to be
Yeah.
honest, like having it have allowed me to give like so many individuals, even growing up, who have abused me or like misused me or whatever, to just give them grace or
Mm.
the space of just like forgiveness, because it's like I don't
Wow.
want to carry that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You said, well, because first of all, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being willing to share that, that part of your journey and that part of how you grew up. And I'm realizing more and more how many women, and I'm sure there's many men too, but have been in similar
Mm-hmm.
experiences growing
Mm-hmm.
up when it comes to molestation and things like that. And I have people even close to me that I'll be honest, because I've never been in that space. Like I do my best to support them in that space, encourage them, but I never want to say anything to like invalidate anything they have like they feel at this age in their life, because like a lot of them are women, like adult women now. But for you, why I say that is because when you said like you've worked to find the space to forgive them or to give them grace, you said. And like, when did you feel like you started to like learn that or like accept that, or like when did that come into play in your life? Because I say that because I know there's people that are still struggling with all that. And I don't know what you might be in that space. And is it okay to answer that? If you don't want to answer that, you don't have to as well.
To be honest, like I felt like God sent me here with it equipped already, because otherwise, like honestly, like I don't know how I would have reacted or how I would have like viewed people or viewed humans, just so much of like what my path doesn't entail. So it's just
yeah. So what would you tell somebody who maybe is in the space that you have been, where you were almost, would you say at one point you questioned God? Or there was something you said, that makes me mad. It was something along the lines of, it seemed like you might have questioned him, but maybe you didn't.
You know what? I've always questioned God. I feel like that's how I have been able to get to know him.
That, and they do say you're supposed to question him. So
yeah, like it says it in scripture to like come to him childlike, asking you shall receive. But then there are also other like, yeah.
Wait, you don't want to elaborate?
Because a lot of people feel like the Bible is contradictory. Like for every scripture that says this, there is something that's saying the opposite, which.
So what do you believe though? Like, we ain't talking about them. We talk about you, because maybe somebody needs. I mean, this don't gotta be. First of all, if you listen to Divinely Crowned Conversations podcast in the last year and almost a half, is an award-winning podcast, and y'all know what the vibe is over here, okay? So if you don't like it, you don't have to listen, but there's somebody that might need what you got to say. So you ain't allowed to hold back. If it's something that you feel you should say, don't hold back, sis.
This is true. Yeah.
But I also want you to feel comfortable, so don't feel like you have to, but yeah. If you feel led, say what you gotta say.
Yeah, like definitely. Like I don't know if I would be able to. I wouldn't be able to, but I have dealt with so much of like my real life that like I feel like it's my duty to share my experiences, because why else? You understand me? Like,
yeah, I do. Yeah. We don't in being like, you're a soul therapist, I'm a life coach. I think that we have a very unique spiritual and emotional journey. And it does come from us being healers. And so it's like we had to go through these specific things so that we're able to help those specific people. And that may not have even been able to get any help if it wasn't for us having what us going through what we have gone through, and us being obedient to what God is telling us to do, which is not an easy thing. So do you feel like you have struggled with being obedient to, the calling on your life?
I have, and I won't say necessarily like not being obedient, because that's something like I've always, when it comes to God, it's like I'm childlike with that. Like I ain't trying to get in trouble.
Lord, I feel like I'm gonna need to ask you how to do that, because it be hard out here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in trouble. So I feel like what I have struggled with along my journey is discerning whether this situation should be experienced or I should indulge it like this or like this. So I have struggled with that.
Okay. So And discernment is something, it's so funny. Earlier today, that was a word that like rang in my ear, which I don't, I guess I want to know, when you say you struggle with discernment, what do you mean? Because like I know in the ways I struggle with discernment, and what do you mean by that? Or like, can you elaborate on that?
So there would be instances where I would confuse like how I strongly feel about a person and like God giving me this strong feeling to possibly be the example to this person or for this
Mm,
person. And I'm just like, you know what? I like this. I'm going over here like
yeah,
full fledged. So it'll be stuff like that.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, discernment is, and we do like, I feel like we normally know, like, and I know some people
Mhm.
call it intuition, but like I think discernment is just like God will literally even show you what this scenario would be, and it's
Mhm.
like you're like, Imma see for my, it's this girl,
Yeah.
this skit she does, Imma see for myself. And I'm like, yeah, like, I should've, or like you said, like, you're like, "No, I'm not gonna deal with this person," and God's like, go over there, and yeah,
Mhm.
you may not like them, but you
Yeah.
gotta do it.
You gotta
Do it
work.
and do it."
Yeah.
It's
Several
the
times.
word. Even what is that, the Bible, and some tools? What does that mean? Oh, is the Bible the tools?
Look, it
Oh,
is. It's the tool. It's the tool.
it is the tool.
Look.
So the tea is on here, so supportive. Like, let's switch gears to just even the journey. You just got married
I
within this last 6 months, right?
yeah.
So tell me about the journey of love and marriage, because I do like to I do like to talk to people that are married, especially in our, I'll say,
Mhm.
millennial generation, because in this our generation, it's a lot of men versus women type
Mhm.
stuff, a lot of the worst dating advice that people can give, a lot of people not wanting to get married, a lot of people scared to get married and allowing their traumas and all the things to um a lot of things. I know you see on social media. Social media is full of dating and all the things.
Mhm.
So tell me about being a I must say you're pretty, we're still pretty young adults, like, and becoming a wife and all that.
Um, it's what I. It's like genuinely what my heart desired.
I feel that.
Otherwise, like it's easy to jump in the pool of everything else. It's like
Ugh,
once you
I am
desire,
not that girl. I can't do it.
listen, once you desire something and like you take it to God and you do what you need to do, like for you and for Him first, like He gonna make sure you good.
Thank you. That was a word for me.
For sure. Like He don't never miss. Trust me. Like
He don't never
He don't
miss.
never miss. It's all. It's gonna be worth the wait. It's gonna be worth everything. Shoot, when He show up, you gonna be like, I go back and do it again. If it's bringing me here, baby, oh, I'll go back and spin the block again with the BS.
I
If it's bringing me
I love that.
here,
It's
yeah.
funny, I literally just had that a conversation like this with my best friend, because 'cause I'm in the season, first of all, I've been single, like, 4 years now, and that desire's been in me since I was a young girl, like, I wanna be
Mhm.
married one day, like, I didn't say I wanted the white picket fence, but I've always had a desire to be married, and
Mhm.
I do feel strongly like I am a wife, you know what I mean? And my best friend's even like, "You're a wife," and she's married too, so she's been married to her husband. So it's like, but getting the advice from her, like, I know people think that, like, sometimes we romanticize about, like, marriage and things like that, and
Mhm.
I think that's okay. Like, I personally do. I think that's what God created us for, to be a union and be in
Mhm.
relationship, and it's just like, I think marriage is a beautiful thing, even with the things that, marriage isn't always easy, but like marriage and relationships to me, like I already value those with friends. So
Mm-hmm.
to have somebody, a best friend, a husband that you can be like intimate on all levels with, I just think that is something that is probably unexplainable.
Yeah, for sure. It's super dope.
Bro said, "Uh-oh, hold on, I'm done lost my." Bro said, "Yes, you're a wife, sis. Gotta know it first."
Listen, we
Listen,
be over here like when sis husband get here.
I, I, over my life, guys.
Look, we gonna be
Listen, I
trying to double date, like all kind of the good, honey. Because if
yeah. Listen, dear future, listen. But you know how you said, like, when you really just have your focus on God and like doing what you need to do for yourself. And I've had to tell myself, like, sis, Davina, like, are you ready for that? But at
yeah,
the same time, I'm like, yes, I was ready yesterday. But like, I get like there's things that we always need to work on. But like, even like my best friend was like, but when the man is for you, it doesn't matter how ready you're not, like, he's going to be for you. So it's just like, and I say that even for the other people watching or listening or when they will listen, that do have hope and that desire, like you said, that desire has been in you, like, and I don't think that there's nothing wrong with that desire. It doesn't mean you're desperate. It doesn't mean you
no,
can't not be alone, like you can't be alone. It's just a desire that God has placed in you. He says he will give you the desires of your heart, but also he will place those desires in you as well.
right. And I feel like too, like with like our age group or like our peer group, when it comes to like when I say like I focused on me and I focused on God. Like I don't want people to think like it's this certain set of things that you have to do
Yeah.
before God will finally like release your partner. It's like
Yeah.
it's not like that. Like he knows for a fact like what it will take for you as a human to want to stay with another human for
Mm.
longevity. Our
Mm-hmm.
human selves might not know that. We'll get with a person and 2 weeks later we be like ready to get on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just like he knows that. So it's
Yeah.
like no, it's like what you're doing, you're just taking the steps to meet him where he have your husband, that type of ordeal, so that from that point there can be longevity. Because it
Mm.
won't, it's not like, oh, you get perfect and you get perfect and then y'all meet. Or you get so healed and you like it's not that. It's
Sis.
literally like what you can withstand within your own self. Like if you
Mm.
know you have an attitude problem, God is not gonna stop your husband from showing up because you have an attitude. Like
Wow.
it's
No,
just
that's
about if you're gonna shun your husband away because he may be, as God would tell him to do, sit you down and check you about your attitude.
in
A
Jesus'
lot of people
name.
not ready for
Okay,
that.
can Lord take
Like a lot of people not ready for that. So it's not.
that.
Yeah.
No, and you know what? I first of all, bro, okay, bro, come on, just speak all to somebody. He said he's looking for you now. He said with a flashlight. I receive it. Okay, I
He's
receive
looking
it.
for you at this point. He said, baby.
He's looking for me. Listen, maybe he'll
Baby.
listen to this podcast or watch it later.
Oh my God.
But no, but I love how you like said all that, and
Yeah.
because you being married, like you've been
Mm-hmm.
through things, you guys are now married, and it's so many of the not married people trying to tell us how to be. And
Yeah.
it's like all the blind leading the blind.
Child, you
I ain't
got
even gonna
lied.
hold you. Like to me, I feel like it's just the blind leading the blind with relationships and stuff. And it's like, yeah, yeah, you realize you still single.
Mm-hmm. Like
Like,
what our peers have to start doing is being realistic about their look at the crops. Like if
yeah.
you're looking at an individual or a couple or any type of lifestyle, look at the crops.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not talking about like the petals of the roses that bloomed from, you understand, like
Yeah.
look at the crops and it's just like you will know if you would like to sow those type of seeds. Like
Mm. Come on. Okay,
yeah.
now she get loose with it. Get cooked.
Yeah.
Love that. So, do you have any other advice for single people before we first of all, he said he pointed and then he said, I like this one.
Oh my god.
I love it. But so yes, do you have any because I know you be scrolling and seeing
Yes,
and
and
like
my heart be hurting because in real life it's like the moment that, because now what it have become is we're living in a time where humans, like I said, are going from five sensory to multi-sensory, which in those spaces, like we will be able to manifest or co-create at quicker speeds. So it's just like I know humans can feel it, but they may not. You understand? Know what's
yeah,
going
like
on, but
the
it's
shift
like
is definitely real. Like you can
yeah.
feel things are different.
So it's just like the best thing to do is to like set your intention, like harness the energy that you would like to feel just every day. And even when you meet your partner, when you get with your partner, it's just like hold that energy now, because that is what will shift your timeline like so quick. And a lot of people don't understand that. They feel like it's something out here you have to do. It's like, no, you just have to make your mind up, like, and believe in yourself enough to say, like, that's mine. And it's not that it's out there or that it's out there. Everything that you desire is within. It's just about you getting your energetic field to that energetic field as well.
And do you feel like that happens more when do you have a relationship with God?
Now I can say this in like as a fact. For those people who don't have relationship with God, and I'm not speaking of like a belief in God. Like I'm speaking of like a like genuine like relationship with God, it will be very difficult for them to manifest anything now and in the times to come. I can't say that.
That's good stuff, sis.
Yeah.
And I do feel like when you do have a more like I'm realizing even now in my life, like all these great things. Like you said, I've always had a love and a desire to have a relationship with God. Like I was born and raised in a Christian
Okay.
household. I loved going to church. I used to bring all my friends to church, all the things. Have I strayed? Have I not gone to church? Have I not prayed? All this. I've always been a prayer. I'm a prayer warrior, actually.
Okay.
Have I not read the Bible? Things like that. Like I feel like in my last few years, I've been more in my word. But I realized as I'm having a real intimate, serious relationship with God, life has just been like I even just watching how things are just playing out in my life now. I'm like, dang God, like you really are good. Like
Okay.
you really be showing up and showing out. Like how people say God don't play about me. Like
Yeah.
I'm realizing that, but I realize it's because I have taken the time to really have a intimate relationship with him for myself. Like not based on anyone else, not because somebody told me what to do, but because like I desire that and I want to know what it feels like to keep like when you got a relationship with him, your blessings
Yeah.
just be blessing,
Come
okay?
on now.
Like so it's just like I don't want like y'all can have all the other things, but
Yeah.
I want this. Like this works for me.
Yeah.
This works for my children. Like, and they love him. And it's just like, listen,
Yeah.
I love, like bro said, I love me some capital G.
Tell you.
I love
Yeah.
it. So I do want to talk about something. You were on my live when I was actually alone. I did a lone one and we were talking about people pleasing. And that is something I know for me is I struggle with that. Since I was young, I always want to make sure everybody's okay and happy and content with Davina. And I will be honest in saying within this last year, I've realized how much I gotta stop being like that because it's messed up like some things for me as far as just like who I am, like
Yeah.
having me question myself. Like
Yeah.
I think this year I've questioned myself and my worth.
Mm.
more than I have in a long time. And that's being transparent because off the strength of people pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I know when I did my live, I kind of said something and we were like, oh, we need to talk about this. So like, tell me like your experience with that. Cause I think that's something a lot of us, especially people who are into the work we do, like
Mm-hmm.
struggle with. So kind of go ahead. What you got to say about it?
Okay, so there is like two aspects to people pleasing, right? Or can be
Mm-hmm.
two aspects to people pleasing. So for me, I people pleased the most at a time of my life where I wasn't giving to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt good for me to give to others or to do for others, even when it was getting on my nerves, because
Mm-hmm.
it was filling some whatever void for the lack of like self-care or attention that I wasn't giving to myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another like aspect of people pleasing is it almost kind of teaches people like not to be selfish, but
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, it's like you're teaching them how to be selfish because like you're aiding the energy of like the selfishness that
Their ego.
yeah, so it's like there is no exchange of energies when you're a people pleaser. So
Mm,
there's an energy imbalance there, which
mm,
you know it'll always balance itself out whether by force or by awareness. So
awareness. That'd be,
yeah.
well, it might be a little bit of both, but I was like, oh, and like I said, like being somebody who people do put a lot of faith and trust in. And I always tell people I don't take lightly what I do, you know what I mean? But like that also leaves room for people to think that I'm supposed to say yes to everything. I'm supposed to agree with everything. I'm supposed to make sure that I'm there for you at all times when you write me, when you call me, like, or just things that it's just like, well, I know you're a good person, so I need to tell you how like this made me feel. And it's like, well, I
Yeah.
don't owe you anything. Like
Yeah.
people thinking I owe them everything. And it's just
Yeah.
like, listen,
It's
but that's not a part to me, it's like that's not a part of loving, like you said, that self-love, making sure you're taking care of yourself. Because
yeah.
if I'm constantly making sure you're good, even if it's something that's hurting me, like how much I
I'm
really
doing
do.
IE.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the things some of the scenarios I've had to deal with that I've dealt with this year, I'm like,
I
do you
can
want to live
imagine.
the rest of your life being a people pleaser so
Yeah.
that people don't think that you're
Mm-hmm.
not saying it was not genuine, but it was just like, let me just like, because I don't want them
It's
to think that I don't care or like, and it's like,
it's
no.
I feel like it's always genuine. Like once you're a genuine person, like you can't help but to give a
Mm-hmm.
genuine you in whatever aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So
Even in your no.
yeah, like the no is gonna be authentic as well. Like and
Yeah.
it's
The
coming
no
with
is
the
gonna be
same
authentic.
amount of love too. It's just
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Yeah. So for somebody who maybe struggles or still struggling, because like I said, I mean, I see all the time people saying like, "Oh, I hate being a people pleaser," like, "I'm tired of giving to everybody." So like, what advice would you give somebody who is struggles still or still trying to figure out how to not be such a people pleaser? Or what have you learned?
Um, I've learned this. It's like God warned us about pleasing people
Mm,
and like so much so like having like humans having such a grip on us in any
mm,
ways. Like I went through that in several aspects. So it was just
mhm,
like the art of detachment from human form so that you are able to do the work for the kingdom. So
mm.
it's all a part of the journey if you're walking the path towards the kingdom.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it the phases may like differ from detail, but like the aspect and the intention of the phase is pretty much the same, because it's just like it's God purging his kids from like the weight of the world that been on us, that literally like was about to crush our soul at this point in humanity. And it's just like it's time for a shift. So yeah, that shift is happening. It's just like, listen, I can, for you and for everybody out there who love God, please God first.
Yeah.
He will take
Please God
first, and he will take care of the rest. Like,
yes,
do what you can, let God do the rest.
I love that. That's a word right there. Okay. That is God first and let him do the rest. Like, I do love it, because even there's a scripture that says they will know you by your fruit, right? So how we talk about like how I even said, like, I am genuine, like, but sometimes like people pleasing, it's like, but people will know you by your fruit, Davina. Like, they know who you are at the core.
You don't have to prove that by your decision making. Like, that's not. It's really nobody else's business.
Yeah,
what you choose. So.
In 2024 and beyond, just to get ready, y'all, because I'm not playing about me no more.
As you should not. Because like, God will never play about you.
Okay.
Okay.
I love it. So, one of the parts of just who you are that I love and I'm so I mean, you at who you are, but one of the parts that I do love is your creative side. You are actually a designer, right?
Yes.
And you also, I saw that you switched up the ears one, but you are a fashion designer and you be killing the game. So tell me about just that part of who Toya is.
Wow, that's like the sewing part is just that a specific aspect of like what I enjoy doing. And like I started sewing when I was 10 and I was forced into it and I hated it. So yes.
Wait, can you tell, like, can you tell me what you mean when you say you're forced into it?
Okay, so my grandmother at the time, which is like all three of my sisters' biological grandmother, kind of like raised us. So like our grandma pretty much, it was like something to get us out the house, like an extracurricular activity or whatever. And then
was it at the neighborhood art house?
No, ma'am. It was on 15th and State, and it was like on a high floor.
Okay.
I can't think of the name of it, or close to 18th and State. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And like the high building, and this woman, Miss Betty Walker, I believe her name was.
Oh, did she just pass recently?
Did she?
Girl, don't give me the line. Maybe that's her. I know a lot of people been talking about a few people that have passed that were like they're from their childhood. So don't give me the line. I'm sorry, Miss Betty.
I know Miss Alice Brown just passed. She was
maybe
from
that's who it was. Yep. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do. We didn't grow up like doing any of that. Like, we were church kids. Like,
listen, I didn't get the bus outside until like I moved from like my grandmother's house where we were like a Jehovah's Witness, and I ended up when I was 12 moving like with my foster mom. So life switched a lot after that.
Yeah. So yeah, it was like we didn't go to neighborhood art house. We didn't, which I'm kind of like, dang, I wish we could have did all that, because like I see everybody who has like had these experiences. I mean, don't get me wrong, like we had a great childhood, but it's like, yeah, I wish I would know these people. Like, I don't know.
If it makes you feel any better, they put those centers in the projects, okay?
Yeah.
Like, for like,
right.
wasn't down there in those trenches. You had, I don't know, after school program, and that was as far as it was going, baby.
Well, and my mom was also, she had a daycare at home, so we never had to do that. We just went straight home. Yeah. But anyway, we were talking about you sewing.
Okay, so I started sewing when I was 10. I hated it, and I didn't get back into it until like 2013. Like when I was pregnant with my last kid. Like I really didn't get back in there like consistently until then. So
Okay. And then like what made you so you just found a love like as an
no,
adult per se?
to be honest with you, like another one of the desires of my heart is like, or have been, like freedom. Like I never wanted to, and it's possibly because I grew up in the system. Like I
Mhm.
never wanted to be a human that had to depend on the system. I don't
Mm.
care if it's welfare. I don't care if it's a shopping mall. I don't care if it's a restaurant. I don't care if it's all the way down to a grocery store. I don't want me and my family to have to depend on that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like I would master and like pick up and like harness skills that aided towards that desire, like agriculture and
Yeah.
like self-sufficient things. And I teach my kids because it's like
You do.
yeah,
Wait, do
like
you
my
have chickens?
huh
Do you have chickens?
chickens.
What didn't I see you guys like on a farm or something? And
Okay, no, we work with a inner city farm here in Detroit.
okay.
Yeah, but no, we don't officially have our farm yet, but
Yes,
it's
it's
in
coming.
motion.
Yes, let
So
me
yeah,
move to Michigan because I want a farm. I
yeah.
definitely, with the times changing, I was like, I be looking at food like
No, thank
I
you. And
don't
it's just
trust
like
it.
that's not the only choice. And I feel like that's where humans get to the experience to where it kind of end at a five sensory type of thing.
Mm,
Because it's like you have to indulge in some of everything that you probably disagree with. Like you don't like
yeah,
them shooting up the chicken with steroids, or you don't like, and it's just like most humans are not gonna go out there and kill a chicken themselves or shoot a deer and skin it and all that. They would
right.
then be thinking to themselves like, "Oh my God, I'm not doing that." It's like, but you eat that, so
Yeah,
now you have a choice. You can stop eating it, or you can go out there and get it yourself.
get it yourself so you know it ain't being shot up by
Come
stick.
on now, like it's the God put us down here with free will and like enjoy it. Like He wants us
Yeah,
to enjoy it. So
yeah.
like everything that exists here have always existed here, and it's all to aid for the soul's journey passing through earth. That's
Mm,
all.
come on, wisdom.
Yeah.
Yes. So I know you said you have children. Like how is it with them being their mom and how many children do you have?
Three.
3. So how and they're kind of older. Like
Yeah.
you're
My
yeah,
oldest is 16. My
16.
son is 16. My daughter is 13. And then my youngest son, he'll be 11.
Okay. And you seem like from what I see on like just your like social media, like you guys, one seem very close.
Hmm.
And two, it seems like they're pretty free spirited.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's, I raised them with like the understanding that this is a partnership between me and God, even no matter who they daddies are or
Mm-hmm.
even outside of me. It's like I've just been the portal. So it's like I raised them and prepared them like for their own individual journey for
Mm-hmm.
whatever God sent y'all down here to do. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that's my job. My job isn't to live through all the things I didn't complete or to, because ultimately it's like our kids are copies of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people it's
Ain't
like
that? Mm.
when you give birth to a child, like that child is going to be a product of the work that each parent did.
Mm.
So it's just like if people start like looking at it like that, like that's you all over again, like that's you
Yeah.
all over again, that's you, like it's all you would care for it different, you would
Yeah.
raise it different, you would
Mhm.
pay more attention to it different,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's really kind of like, and they know that too, like y'all belong to God, baby. I'm so thankful that He chose me.
Chose you. I definitely say that too. Like I always say, like, wow, thank you God for trusting me, because Lord
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't know if I would have trusted myself.
Okay. But that
I
be
don't know,
so
but
them be His gifts to us to let us know, like, girl, you been that.
you've
And He
been
also
that.
took the time to show you. in human form, just how much you did that.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
truth right there. I
Okay.
feel that. I feel that.
Yeah.
So I always like to ask a few questions on my podcast, like some specific questions. And I know you had talked about just your journey, just yeah, your journey, your soul journey. And I do Divinely Counts all about confidence and self-love. And I wanna know, like, do you what do you think, or how do you view self-love and confidence, or what does that look like to you?
For me, it's like this came to me, and that's funny. So you've heard of Floetry, right? The group.
Yeah,
Okay, so Flo Assist, one of the one with the gap, like she got on
yeah,
live the other day, and she gave this scenario, and I want to like reiterate it or share it.
okay.
Okay, so she said so many people, and she said even her, like she just look around outside and see how many cameras have been put up, like
Mm,
around different neighborhoods and things like that, and just with the phones, the iPads, like
mhm,
so much things that are watching us, right? And she said, like, she thought to herself, like, wow, like, and hearing different people chatter, like, oh my God, they're watching us through the phone camera, they're watching us. And she was like, the only thing that she could think about was what she looked like to God,
mm,
and not what humans like saw her as or whatever.
mm.
And I was just like, oh my God, because
No, that's
like that,
maybe that what gives me a different perspective, because I
listen,
literally was just thinking that when I was earlier, I was like, "Oh my god, they're listening to me talk, about, like, wanting a new phone type
yeah.
stuff," and it's like
And knowing God, like, and having like direct encounters with him literally is what give me my confidence,
mm,
because like I would be lost without him. I would
yeah,
be like no direction, to be honest. So even
yeah,
dating that back to like when I had my first son, it's like he solidified that even more like within me. It's like
yeah.
walking that path for God, because it's like I would never drag you into hell on purpose, baby.
No. Look,
Like,
yeah, listen, on purpose, you said, and I do love your faith and how you do direct everything back to him. And like, I know even personally, I through everything I do, like Divinely Crown in general has become huge to me. Like, wow. And I'm like, I'm nothing. I wouldn't be doing any of this without God. Like, I'm nothing without him. And I love that you literally have directed like everything back to him. And I think that in this day and age, in our generation, like, that is a beautiful thing
mhm.
and an inspiring thing, and a thing that I hope that other people who are on here who maybe are still searching and figuring out or trying to figure out, like, that are inspired by that, because literally you are a prime example of his love, you know what I mean? Just even in your journey, what you've been through, like, he loves us, like, and we just
Yeah.
gotta be willing to be open to that, and knowing that it's not just about a bunch of rules, but it's like
Mhm.
how much he wants to just love you. Like you said,
Yeah.
that
So,
childlike feeling with him, and it's like, it's a beautiful thing. People be missing out.
no, seriously, like it's the creme de la creme of this human
Period.
experience. Like I can just say that. Like
God is
I
the
wouldn't
creme de la
trade
creme.
God for nothing or nobody, bro. Like I'm okay.
Yes, I love it. Detroit Day said, "Seed
God.
planted." Yes. I love it. So another question I always like to ask is, what would you tell Toya at whatever age in the when you were younger, whatever age you want to, what would you tell her now at 33, you said, right?
Yeah.
33-year-old you, like, what would you tell her?
Mm. Keep doing exactly what you're doing.
I like that.
Yeah. Because it got me here. Like
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like if I tweaked anything or attempted to tweak anything, it might have catapulted me to a timeline I didn't want to be on. So
Hello. I feel that. I do feel that for sure. Keep
yeah.
doing what you're doing. Listen, and you keep doing what you're doing as you keep going too.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
obviously, I always like to leave some room at the end for whatever. The mic is yours. The royal mic is yours. Like, is there anything that you wish I would have asked, said, something you wish, whatever? The floor is yours. The throne is yours.
I would like to say this
Yes.
because, like, it's screaming. Like,
Okay.
so humanity right now as a whole are in attempt to get to like enlightenment.
Mhm. Mhm.
So like the top tier, like as high as you can go within like this dimension or this human avatar is enlightenment.
Mm.
And the color that represents enlightenment is purple. So
Hey
it's
now.
like I want for you to like just even just start digging a little bit more like into multi-sensory things,
Okay.
because that is what's gonna like even furthermore solidify you and what you're doing, like how you're doing it and when you're doing it, because it's so like spot on. Like the whole divinely crowned brand have like God aura all over it. So it's like,
Girl,
please don't get in your human head and get to you trying to come down the ladder. Stay at purple. And feel good up there, feel confident, even if you telling somebody no.
oh, you ain't about to make me cry.
Seriously, because you spot on, sis.
I love you for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Would you been listening to my conversations?
Look,
Woo! Yeah.
these cameras out here, this is the mockery of God too. These cameras out here is like this wireless connection of all things, but there is an invisible consciousness connection of God's kids right now, and it's like we're all in communication. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You said the mockery. Dang, that's a we might need that's a whole nother that's
it
a lot.
is.
That's
It is.
yeah, yeah. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. I received that and I'm like was trying not to just break down right now. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You welcome
Woo.
to.
All right. Anything else that you
No.
but
Like
when I end this, I can click you off and we can still be on to kind of, after.
okay.
So, but I always like to give my flowers. So Toya, first of all, you know how much I love you and appreciate you and
Yeah.
just our connection, our
Like
virtual literally it's literally like a virtual
literally. So it
but
has
it's
to
just
be some unforeseen
listen,
dimensional love there. We're good.
listen. Legit, because I literally like even as we were talking, I'm like, wow, it's really crazy. Like it's been some years and we are really connected. So
Yeah.
that's God, okay.
Yeah.
But
Easy.
even when I just, I want to say thank you for who you are, for you just being a light, being going against what society says and just doing and being and speaking things that people don't want to speak about and just being you. So thank you for that. Like thank you for that. Your confidence in God, your willingness to speak about him and all those things. So I commend you for sure for all of that.
Thank you.
And then I got Detroit Dave one last
Oh my
time.
God.
You got some smiles. Thank you for being in the chat the whole time, bro. You are appreciated. And congrats, because you guys are like still newlyweds. So
We are, and we're not,
congratulations.
because he on my nerves already, as you can see.
Well, you got to laugh a long, 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 many years to
Okay.
deal with that.
And without the word, baby, we would not be able to
I
endure.
believe it. Listen, they say he got to be in the middle of that thing.
Okay.
I love it. But
Yeah.
yes, so I'm gonna click you off and then wrap up, and then I will. If I do hang up, then I'll call you. But
Okay.
let me wrap up. All
Uh,
right. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, even through the technical difficulties. Gotta love technology, I tell you. But thank you for listening and watching tonight. Just remember to share this video. I do appreciate Toya for getting on and being open to just share her journey and just enlighten us with wisdom. And like I said, make sure you get your tickets to the Divinely Crown and Rabbit 3 Royal Affair. It is going to be a great event. Also, just keep being keep being well. I know there's a lot of sickness been going on. The darkness is getting in the way of a lot of things for people, and just make sure you're taking care of yourself even as we're in the holiday season. So, and of course, I always got to say, remember, you are divinely crowned.